So our question was, B, what's the ask? What would a RFP or a brief to source original content from emerging filmmakers look like? I'm going to do my best to try and convey this. So what we started with was we said, Alex put up like these post-its which were sort of a framing principle for trying to triangulate down on like what we might be looking for. So it could be we're asking people what's the content idea, who could we partner with, how will they execute it, why aren't we doing it at the moment, what's the value to the partner, like what are we going to give them back, what's the value to News UK, and how much will it cost us. So we started off with just some questions, some framing principles. We didn't get majorly far, but we did sort of talk around this idea of like, there's essentially, we started off by saying there's sort of news stories or content that we know that News UK would like to produce, but we don't feel it falls into the triangle we had earlier of something we could do well ourselves. So there would be the need to go to an external vendor. And this is sort of where we've got something predefined, and that would be a briefing sort of template. That's where we kind of started with. But then Mark was talking about the fact that we are starting to get in different kind of content producers who have maybe one idea, do something really well, and then you kind of say, well, what else have you got? And they come back in and they've actually got quite a lot of other stuff as well. And we're providing sort of facilities, a different kind of experience from like the way they normally make their content, maybe money sometimes or something like that. So you start off by getting them in to produce hygiene content, stuff that you can use on a regular basis. And this could either be formed in an area where we want them to sort of, can you produce something around this? Or it could just be come in and show us what you've got. But then there was this other kind of bucket here, which was more hero, totally sort of unscripted, which was, we know that these agencies or partners or vendors or one-man bands, whatever it may be, YouTube guys or girls, they're just producing really freaking awesome content, and we don't really know what we want them to do. We just want them to come in and just do something epic. So that was kind of in a much more unplanned, undefined, just come in and use our stuff and just do something mega, and like hopefully we can find a home for it. Maybe Bantsman will love it or someone else. So it could be that the hygiene guys and girls come in and start to do stuff, and that's sort of an indicative way to sort of screen them as professional level people that we could move into, like, listen, you've done some really good stuff for us, just go nuts in our space and come up with some really crazy ideas and do something. Or it could just be that they always stay there and they're like doing stuff that is more managed, and we want you to do this type of content for us, and it's kind of in a sort of a box. But the reality is there really was sort of one briefing system which is specific to what we want and need, and the other is just do something really crazy because you're an amazing content producer. And they were kind of the two ways that we really saw it at the moment. The idea is that overall we felt that there was a general need to actually have a much deeper look at the ocean of content producers. I think Mark called it correctly that, you know, he skimmed the surface of some of the people out there that are doing cool stuff, but in the sort of landscape of the people that are out there making video content, there is literally just an absolute plethora of options. So one is to get a lens to focus more on those people that could maybe help us more with, could they solve the breaking news problem? Can they solve something specific that we want to be able to tell more stories in this other area? On the other side of the coin, these people are doing stuff that we don't really know what home they would sit in from News UK, but we do know they're getting loads of views and it's really cool stuff. How can we get them involved and let them use our facilities? So this was sort of more of a have an always-on mentality to finding great talent, find a way to bring them in either through more of a hygiene type content requirement or something that's absolutely batshit crazy. It doesn't really matter, but it's just let's partner with good people and give them either something more structured that we need or something that we just think you guys are really talented. Why don't you just come in and impress us and leverage them from those perspectives? And the trade-off for them is facilities, money, whatever it may be. That's sort of to be defined, and I think the triggers for different individuals are always going to be different. So as long as we're open to the fact that we're going to be able to give them something of value and support them through News UK, we should be able to get some really good content back. That was really...
I thought one of the things that was interesting talking about this is it can serve as a two-way gate, because we have so many companies coming to us saying, hey, we want to work with you guys and create content. I mean, I've had like 3 or 4 passed my way in the last week. And we can use this same sort of gating to say, well, what do you do? And yeah, well, as a matter of fact, we have a need that you are serving, or that same sort of hygiene thing. Well, God, your stuff's cool. Let's see if we can find a way to work together. And once we sort of define that gate a little bit better, I think it can work in both directions, both the stuff we go out and seek and the stuff that.
And that's
we
where as well
stumble
you
upon.
then you refocus it as well. So well, if someone goes, we can do this amazingly, we're like, well, you know what? We're actually already doing that really well here because we've done that exercise and that's stuff that we're taking care of. So thanks very much. You're a good bunch, but see you later, right? And it just becomes a filtering exercise because otherwise you waste so much time going around the houses where people will come and say, we can definitely do that. And you're like, well, I've seen no evidence of it. So therefore immediately I'm going to think you're just making it up. Secondly, you're saying you're doing the same thing that we already do. So why would we be talking to you? But actually, we've got a real specific need around this, and you seem to be doing a really good job of that. We could definitely do something on a rolling basis, or you know what, you've just done something that's the whole world has taken notice of, and we have no idea what we'd be able to use it for, but we're interested in working with you. Could you come in and talk to us about something else? I think then you've just got like a better lens for finding people.
So as an example of how this has worked on Dream Team, is it like the football skills guys, perhaps? Say
No.
you do
So
something really
the guy who did the Theo Walcott prank. So we knew we wanted to make a prank, and we found a guy who was making loads of cool pranks called Mim Shake, and we went, oh, you got any other ideas for pranks? And he was like, oh, it's the Asian Football Awards coming up, and I sort of look like Theo Walcott, but he's this short, fat Asian guy. He's like, I wonder if I could get in. We were like, yeah, great. So he brought in a producer called Ara, and they got in, and we had a great video, and it did 800,000 views, and blah, blah, blah. And then we were like, but on the shoot, we were like, Ara, we really like what you're saying, come in and give us a chat. And now Ara's on a retainer of like 4 days, and he's just pumping out loads of really good stuff. So they just went out yesterday and did this blindfold penalty prank where they say, we'll give you 100 quid if you can score a penalty blindfold, and then put the blindfold on, and then just take the ball and go and run away. So they're just kicking at air.
He's sort of just
Yeah, and he's just churning out these ideas, and they're really fun, and it's stuff that we hadn't considered before. So that's just one example of how it could work, and that's obviously for banter, but I bet for news and for sport, and there are various people doing this sort of stuff. So.
And that's where the principle is: come in, do one thing, 800,000 views. What else have you got? Right, and then it's like maybe they don't progress to the point where they're like a hero piece of content.
Well, they might only have one good idea.
Yeah,
Actually,
800,000 views is 800,000 views.
Mim, the presenter, only had one idea. We got him back in. We were like, "What else have you got?" And he's like, "It was a really awkward meeting." And we
He's
were like,
like,
"Okay, see you later, bye."
Yeah, that was it.
But the producer, the cameraman, was the guy who had all the ideas, and we got him, and he's really cheap, and he's really good.
Yeah.
That's
True
it.
that.
Yeah, that's what we had.